Hey, welcome back to JG3 Reviews, where we explore the world of fountain pens and paper and all that good stuff. My name is James, and today I want to share with you what pens I have that I'm using every day and have inked up and everything else. Somehow or another, I've gotten most of them narrowed down to this tray as I have rotated pens out of use and run out of ink and clean them up and all that good stuff. So today we'll look at what's in this tray, plus a couple of pocket pens, because those never get put away. And if you stick around somewhere along the line, I'll also give you a hint at a couple of upcoming pen reviews. All right, so let me grab a cup of coffee and some paper, and we'll see what's behind curtain number one. All right, paper today is Just Basics. Literally, it's called Just Basics. This is a Vietnamese spiral from Office Depot, I believe it is. Really good paper if you just need a cheap spiral. If you're still wondering what was in that pen tray, here's a peek. Now let's go. All right, first up is the Pilot Falcon. Yes, a Falcon pen with that gold nib and that funky shape. This is the soft medium variety. And this one is inked with Waterman's Serenity Blue. Now, I'm just writing normally with this pen, but you don't have to if you don't want to. One of the things I like about this pen so far, and I'll share this more in the review, is that it's a great regular writer. You can write in just your normal handwriting, or if you want to, it is a soft nib, and it does have a bit of flexibility to it that is really, really nice. And so you can do whatever you want with this pen. It's ground in such a way that I find it a much better daily writer than that Custom Heritage 912 with the FA nib if you're trying to choose between the two. And that's no cut against the 912. It is one of my favorite pens, but this nib is a little easier to live with day by day. Next up might look a lot like a Pilot, but it's actually not. This is the Majan A3. And I have really enjoyed writing this pen. I've kept it inked ever since I reviewed it. It's that real quiet knock and release that people really like. And one of the things that I like about it is that it really doesn't dry out. Now, some people have had dry out. I don't know if that is a quality control issue or if that is in particular ink issue or just some toning that needs to be done. But in my version of this pen, I have not had any problem with that at all. It is, of course, an extra fine nib, and what I have in here is actually a Pilot ink. It is a regular cartridge of blue-black. And as I said, my pen has been very reliable. I haven't had problems with dry out. I do credit that somewhat to the Pilot blue-black ink. It tends to be an ink that performs that way in a lot of pens. So one more credit to Pilot. And sticking with the theme of black pens for a second, we have here a Sailor Prophet that I got not too crazy long ago on eBay, and really an excellent little pen. Classic styling, has that nice gold trim, and it does have a 14-karat gold nib. Great little writer. That skip was me lifting, as is so often the case. Good grief. And this is just a basic black cartridge from Sailor in the pen at the moment. Nice, broad, and when I want a pen that is just a classic-looking black pen with a nice black ink, I reach for this Sailor Prophet. Not done with black and gold pens or with Japan just yet. This is my Pilot Elite 95S, and this pen has been, for me, one of those pens that's a bit of a revelation. I never doubted that it was worthy of the praise that a lot of people online give it, but I did doubt that it was a pen that I really needed or would enjoy all that much, and boy, was I wrong. I really like this pen. And one thing I have to say about it, and I'll go over it when I review this pen as well, is that looks are deceiving. This is not as small a pen as it looks. It is a very convenient size because of the way the pen is designed, but it's actually a full-size pen once you have it posted with a nib that deserves every bit of praise you've ever seen in a review video or read on a pen blog. It really is absolutely fantastic. This one is a medium, but honestly, it writes about like that platinum. And this is Pilot's blue-black, and just an excellent pen all around. That's not my best writing, but it is one of my best pens. I really enjoy this pen, and I look forward to sharing it to you in a review fairly soon. And now, still in Japan, but with a pen that's colors are a bit more to my favorite side of things, the Platinum 3776 in blue. I've had this one for a while. I did that review a long time ago, and I've only come to appreciate the pen more. This one comes with a soft, fine 14-karat gold nib with a little bit of springiness. It's not really so much a flex thing. And this, of course, comes with Iroshizuku Konpeki today. I say, of course, because that's almost always going to be in rotation of inks. As I said, you can get a little bit of springiness. This is not a flex nib, and I don't write with it crazy fast. You notice it kind of went slow on the little loop-de-loops there for this one, because every now and then, because of the way that can get a little bit springy, if you try to overdo it, it'll catch on paper fibers of paper like this, although it likes this notebook. It's pretty smooth paper and pretty friendly to my 3776. Anyway, love this pen. It's almost always in rotation. Every now and then when it runs out, I let something else take its spot, but it is pretty much a perennial favorite of mine. And now for something completely different, we have my Leonardo Momento Zero. Had this one for quite a while, and I absolutely love the feel of this pen. I like the look of it, like the way it writes. It has just the steel nib on mine, and the current ink is the 2024 Blue Dragon from Colorverse. It says a medium nib, and it is just the steel nib. And this is one of those pens that is always going to be on my most favorite pens list, not only for just an incredibly well-made pen in really beautiful resin, but for me, one of the biggest things I like, not everybody does, but I like the shape of this grip. It's just almost perfect for me. And the nib in this one, as you can see, really writes well. So no surprise that this pen is once again back in rotation. Now, another pen that finds its way in pretty often is my TWSBI ALR 580 with that stub nib, and that's partly because of that stub nib. I love the line variation that you can get without even trying. And that's one of the great things about a stub nib is you can just get such interesting writing out of it, even just if all you do is write the way you normally write, adjust maybe just a little bit for the width of the line, and it's just always really neat. This one is currently inked with Noodler's Turquoise. Now, I am going to close that queue, and that is for my teenage daughter on the off chance that she might actually see this video. I love that line variation, and this is really a nice ink to keep in this pen. Never dries out, never a hard start, no problems whatsoever, and it suits the Prussian blue trim on this pen really nicely. From Taiwan over to Dublin, got a few Gravitas pens that are in rotation. No surprise there, that's just pretty much always true, but this one had slid out for a little while, and so I found an excuse to ink it up. This is the Gravitas entry in Teal. Now you may notice there is a bit of variation here, and that's because this is a can write called a fine flex nib, and what you can get out of it is interesting because you can, if you press, it's not just overly easy, but you can get line variation out of this one that's really quite good. Now, I can't remember for sure, and I unfortunately did not write it down like I was supposed to. So I'm going to call this a mystery blue, but I shortened it because I actually think it might be Waterman Mysterious Blue, and I just don't remember. Kind of looks like it, and I think that's what it might be based on ink behavior, but we'll see. And next up, classic shape, but yet another color, is in teal acrylic, the Asvine V126, and I just got back from a trip out of town, and this was the pen that got the most use. Really liking it. It's an extra fine nib, leans a little bit more toward fine, I think. Even has just a little bit of springiness to it. Not too bad. And again, that is the Rohrer and Klingner Verdigris. And I really like that ink, really nice shade. This is just a terrific pen with a good volume of ink in it and really nice nib. I have the medium. I have this in medium as well in another acrylic, and I just can't say enough good about the bang for the buckness of this pen. It's Speaking of bang for the buck, how about that Jinhal 9016? This is kind of like the 9019 Didao, but this one is a little bit smaller with a number 6 steel nib, still that oversized converter, and I found it very reliable and a comfortable rider. All the way down here at the bottom of the page. I apologize for that, but I can't stop writing now, can I? This has, again, a number 6 nib, and this is a medium, as you may have guessed. And this is Iroshizuku. It says Yamaguri. This is kind of a burnt wood-colored ink, and I think this is a really interesting ink. I like, during the fall and the winter, I kind of like inks of natural shades, and I've kind of, as you can see, I've gone back to a bunch of blues all of a sudden because spring is underway and summer's on the way, but I really like some of these browns and burnt charcoals and things like that. Interesting colors, especially in certain seasons. So pretty neat pen. And then I think the new Didao line of pens from Jinhal, they've really knocked it out of the park. They're just genuinely fun pens, and I'm glad that they actually have a little size variety, and I'm interested to see if Jinhal expands that line any farther. All right, now you know what's probably coming next because, you know, James always carries a pocket pen. So this one gets to go along with me quite often. This is the Gravitas Quark with a number 6 broad nib. I just kind of like the irony of that. It has a very comfortable grip, which is typical of a Gravitas pen. I really like the way that Ben has shaped the grips on his pens. I find them very good for long writing. The nibs are Yovo, and I find them well-tuned. And this one is such an interesting pen because you get such a big pen in such a small package, and then you go to write with it, and you can forget that this is a small pen at all. This broad nib has been just a great writer, completely reliable. And if I remember right, this is a Scrivener ink, one of their cartridges. I usually have a Scrivener inked up too, but I just ran out of ink in both of them. And this is their black ink cartridge. Nice black ink, really good saturation. I like their refills if you're a cartridge person. Those on Amazon, really quite good. But the thing I like most about the Quark is that convenience. I do notice this coating is really holding up well because I'm telling you, I've been carrying this thing like crazy, usually in the 5th pocket of a pair of jeans, and you cannot tell that this pen has gone with me as often as it has. And one that usually has a lot more patina than this is my Gravitas brass pocket pen, and this one is with me. Sometimes even I have both of these pens in my pockets at the same time because I'll just forget that one is in there and I'll grab the other one. But anyway, as I said, this one had a lot of patina, and I just cleaned it up not that long ago with lemon juice and kosher salt, and I think it still just looks quite good. Of course, you can see the wear, but you know, that's part of the point. Now I get to put a couple of more years of patina on it. And still, one of my favorite things is the sound of the pen when I take off the cap. Love that sound. This pen, too, is always ready to go. I have never had this pen dry out. And that's really saying something, especially, you know, it bounces around in my pocket, and it's just in there with my keys and my pocket knife. I don't have to worry about it. That's what I love about this pen. Just throw it in the pocket already. It's a medium, and this is Diamine Emerald. A friend was telling me just the other day, he doesn't do fountain pens, but he is on the lookout for a good emerald ballpoint or gel-colored ink. And he says, I can't find a good one. All I can find is stuff that pretends to be emerald, and then it's not when I go to write with it. I would have recommended this to him, but you know, he didn't want a fountain pen, and that's okay. We like people of all kinds around here. And so if you know of a good emerald ballpoint or gel that's like a true emerald green, then you know, mention that in the comments, and I may pass that on to my friend, and he'll be real happy if he finds what he's looking for. All right, there you go. There are the pens. What do you have inked up? Share in the comments below. If you were sitting next to me right now and you were saying, James, can I borrow a pen? Which of these pens would you want me to say, sure, how about this one? Leave that in the comments too, because, you know, I always find that interesting. All right, that's it. That's all I got. There's no more pens in the tray, no more pens in my pockets. That really is it. Well, you know what? There's one more How about this Hongdian that acts like a little museum as you write? I mean, it is really a cool pen about the Qin dynasty in China, and it's a pen that tells its own story as you turn it around and look at it. Not only is this pen a feast for the eyes and its details, but thanks to a viewer's suggestion that I'll share in the review, has a really great writing nib. It's not the stock nib, it's not the standard nib, but it's one that you can order this pen with from some vendors, and you're going to want to check that out. But that'll be next week's review, all right? All right. Thank you very much for liking, sharing, subscribing, commenting, and watching this video. Share with me again, which of these pens would you want to write with the most? Which would you want to borrow? All right? God bless you and have a wonderful week.